Chris, and I am here in Waldwick, New Jersey at Atreus Training Center with my man, Ozzy Dugulubgov. He is the owner of Atreus Training Center. He is the CEO and president of RFL, and we got so much to talk about here. First and foremost, I got to thank my guest for hosting me here at his beautiful training facility. Ozzy, thank you so much for being here, for hosting me. I thank you all.
Awesome. It's good
to
be here.
So let's get into it, man. You were born and raised in the Caucasus Mountains, right? In the
Correct.
South Mountains of Russia, if I'm not mistaken?
It's the south of Russia, but the north of Caucasus Mountains.
Okay.
So if I try to use little geographical terms, if we look at the map and we see Black and Caspian Sea, there's a stretch of mountains goes from one to another, and I'm in the north of those mountains.
Okay. So before we get into the man that I got to know, I get to sit before today, I want to get to the root of the story. Ozzy Dugulubgov in his youth when he was growing up right in the Caucasus Mountains. So tell me, what was growing up like for you, wrestling with your friends, being over there before you moved to the U.S. for the American dream? Tell me a little bit about your upbringing.
It's a very condensed time over there. Within 18 years that I spent over there, I experienced so much. It was so beautiful in so many different ways. It was very challenging in the other ways. And I'm very grateful that I had the experience that I had over there before coming here. The amount of adversities through the environment, the amount of adversities through the mentality of the people, the financial situation of the state, of the town that I lived in, gave me a very specific perspectives, and at the same time installed somewhat of a resilience in me for my character that allowed me to build the things that I built over here. One of the things that I really liked over there growing up was a little freedom to do dangerous things.
Care to elaborate?
For example, at the age of 12, at the age of 12, I was already able to leave the home to the environment where there were little danger of guys fighting each other, a little danger of somebody stealing the bike from you, a little danger of you may getting hurt, and yet we're okay to move in that environment. We're okay to navigate through that environment, and that was a little fun. That little danger that knowing when you hop on your bike and you drive to that little area of the town where you know somebody can smack you and take the bike away from you, but you still go there. That was really fun. That was really fun.
The fun times of being a child, right? So do you think, I mean, you grew up and you were a fantastic professional martial artist, mixed martial artist. You had an illustrious career. Do you think that time was that root where the tenacity, the toughness was instilled in you?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Starting with the way how my father was raising me, my mother was raising me. One, it was two complete opposites. My mother wanted all soft, wear a suit, look awesome like Adam. My dad is like, no, you need to be in the cage. You need to be in the cage. So it was such a big flip, but I was gearing towards my father's side. I enjoyed what he was showing to me. Naturally, I wanted to be a military man. So bad. I wanted to be in the military. And everything around what I was doing was revolved around me becoming a soldier or me becoming a fighter. So everything, my discipline, the way how I was dressed, the way how I was eating, the way how I was sleeping, the way how I was going to school, what I was saying, how I was acting. My father was pushing that. So being tough wasn't something extraordinary. Being tough and resilient was a part of my nature. At least we were forced to be like that. It was nothing special for you to go out there and defend yourself against 2-3 guys fighting on the street. It was like, right now, if you do something like that, it's a big story on Instagram. Oh, the guy fought 2-3 guys on the street. By then, it was like, why did you even get beat up? Like, what do you mean? Like, it was such a normal thing to do extraordinary things. So when I came here, what normal was for me, what average work was for me over here was extraordinary work ethic, extraordinary bravery, extraordinary resilience, while for me it was already an average thing.
Right, and I think that's what sets you apart, and I want to talk about that in a little bit later on, but talking a little bit about your upbringing story, just carrying on from that, I want to talk about, when did martial arts enter your life? Because obviously it's a
Yeah.
huge part of your life. So when did it first start entering your life, and what was the first martial art that you picked?
So it started at the early age from my parents, and I don't remember choosing martial arts. It was chosen for me. Yes, it was chosen for me, and I'm so grateful for that, for my parents. I remember at the age of 6, I have like flashes of moments, of memories, how I competed first time. Like, I was 6 years old. I remember like my father in front of me fixing my belt and stuff, and it was a karate tournament. I remember some moments of that one. Then I remember around 8, 9 years old that I started hating fighting. Yes, I remember that very clearly because I was getting beat up so much. Every training session, I was crying. I remember kids would shoot doubles at me, lift me, and carry me out of the mats and throw me down. Like, it was literally weren't working for me.
Yeah.
I was heartbroken. I didn't want to do it. My father was furious because his upbringing is everything: faster, stronger, better, more. There was no balance. There was no, oh, it's okay, take a break today. Such a thing didn't exist. So he was furious. He was losing his mind that how come my son is like this while he was a legend of our state. He was like this unbeatable wrestler, this inhuman hero that used to do crazy things, and suddenly his son is getting his ass kicked like this. So he was losing his mind. Then he stopped training me and he gave me to the assistant coach. He said, I'm not going to train you anymore. Let the assistant coach take care of you. When assistant coach took over, things flipped. I just opened up. I started winning tournaments. I started enjoying fighting because I finally realized it was the pressure of my father trying to please him.
Oh, man.
Yes.
And that'll put so much more pressure on that's unnecessary, but at the same token, you want nothing more than to please your father.
Exactly. How many nights I cried into pillow, literally cried into the pillow so he doesn't hear it, because his room was right next to me. We lived in a very small place, and I was crying saying, God, please, why I'm not like my father? I want to be like my father so bad so he's happy. You know, why am I not like him? And then I realized, I don't have to be like him. You know, I have to be me, and yet make him happy by my way of doing it. Right. You know, I'm a different person, you know, this and that. And believe it or not, slowly, where I decided to be me and not trying to be like him, I actually became more and more like him. People were like, oh my God, even your hand gestures, even the way how you speak, your tone, they're like it's exactly resembles your father. I remember I used to, as a teenager, I used to go to these Russian sauna spots. Like, it's high heat temperature. Usually after training, all the wrestlers used to go and do that. And as a teenager, I would go there, and there's always these older wrestlers, the ones who used to wrestle. They're done with the big stomachs like this, come in, do the hot saunas, ice plunges and stuff. So I would go there as a teenager, and they always used to share stories with me about my father. And it was such a fascinating thing. And so many of them, they were like, oh my God, you're just like him when he was a kid. You know, and I was like, in my head was complete opposite. I'm not anything like him.
Right.
I'm so behind him.
Right.
And that allowed me to slowly build myself up, and here I am.
What's that moment like when you want so much to please your father, and then you're thinking that you're creating your own person, and then everybody else is saying, hey, you remind me of your father? It's almost like, is that a bitter sweetness? Because one, you were trying to be like your father so much, but here you are creating your own brand, your own person, and people are telling you remind them of your father. Is that an odd balance? Tell me about that.
It was actually, even though I was trying to become myself, creating a new character, I still, every time, till this day, anybody gives me a compliment that I look a little bit like my father, I like a little kid, I enjoy the moment. Yeah. And I just realized, Adam, as I was talking, I didn't completely answer your previous question about my martial arts career. Let me just get back to that. I hate not answering questions.
Sure.
I just got too excited and drifted off. My martial arts career, yes. At the age of 6, I had my first tournament. At the age of 9, I started hating fighting. Around 11, 12, I started enjoying fighting. Around same time, I started mixing training of taekwondo, Kyokushin karate, and wrestling. These are the 3 disciplines that I was mixing. My father was forcing me to do striking arts, opposed to grappling arts. He didn't want me to do grappling arts, and his thing was, oh, you have wrestling in your blood. Learn kicking and punching. You have wrestling, because by us in our area, striking arts was very foreign thing. People used to make fun of me because I was doing Kokushin karate and taekwondo. They're like, oh, what is this Mickey Mouse stuff you're doing? Like, this is not real. Like, you're supposed to wrestle. And he was forcing me to do this. So I had that hard time at the age of 13, 14, and 15, that time. And even a little bit younger, when I was 7, 8, I had the moment of being bullied. And then he came back at the age of 13, 14, 15. I think around that age. Because at the age of 12, I stopped growing. And everybody, I remember when I came back after summer break in school, everybody was heads above me. And slowly bullying started. They're like, I realized, oh, snap, we can beat this kid.
Yeah.
This all cool Ozzy is not cool anymore. So very bad bullying started. To the point where I was choosing a route to school that's way more, takes
It's like
way
something
more.
out of a movie.
Yes,
right?
yes. It was a disaster. I hated it. I hated it. And every day I would promise myself, I'm going to punch him in the mouth. I'm going to punch him in the mouth. Nope. For 3 years, it lasted. At the age of 15, my body started growing better. I started feeling, and I remember the last bully was standing in front of me, talking smack to me, and then my head was down. I was listening. He was eating some fruits, and he spit the seed of the fruit, and it hit my chest. And I remember slow motion, the seed was falling down off of my chest to the ground, and I said, enough is enough. I squeezed my fist, closed my eyes, swing 1, 2. I felt first touch. Second one didn't touch anything, so I assumed, oh my God, he dodged it. So I closed my eyes and I hit like this, and nothing is hitting me. I'm like, oh, nothing is hitting me. I look over, the guy's on the floor with the foam out of his mouth, shaking like this. I'm like, oh my God. That scary scenery was a happy scenery for me. I was like, yes, I did it. After that, bullying stopped. That's it. Nobody was messing with me. I started enjoying fighting. I started using MMA as a source of confidence, as a source of life. It's like gave me a motivation to do things now. And that stress of not being like my father, the stress of being small, the stress of being bullied, everything was gone because I started winning tournaments. I started competing. And then by the age of 17, 18, I started concentrating more on the combat sambo. I started enjoying the ability to mix wrestling and fighting simultaneously. And finally, my father's dream came true because he wanted to show the world a new way of wrestling when there is striking involved. And he started modifying my takedowns. He started modifying the way how I punch. He started modifying my stance. He used to force me to practice both stances. That's why when I started fighting MMA, one of the key elements that helped me fight others was ability to manage distance and ability to change stances at will. Anything I do from a southpaw, I'm equally able to do with an orthodox stance with no problem at all.
And going into that, I mean, your father is so tough on you. He's instilling something in you that you don't fully see, but then the fruits of the labor come out in your pro career. I mean, you went 8-2, 10 pro fights. You were challenging for the World Series of Fighting title against Justin Gaethje. Yeah. So all of that, making your father proud, all of everything he put into that fine balance of like, man, I'm hating this, but then I find some love in it, and now he's appreciating everything. Can you tell me what that feels like, just as a son, that father-son bonding moment, you finding your own niche?
You know what it feels like? It feels like I owe him so much that I will never be able to repay him now.
Really?
Yeah. It's like, it feels like, what can I do to repay for this? Because it's such a thing he did, maybe knowingly, maybe without knowing, maybe by accident.
Next question, is it knowingly?
Yeah. I don't know what it was, but I know one thing for sure. Whatever was done, it has no price tag on it. I just feel like, oh, that's it. It's like there's nothing I can do to ever repay it. Yeah, that's how I feel like. I feel like I owe him everything. Yeah.
So you started succeeding. You started finding your winning routes and finding what works for you. And then you made the move at 18 to the U.S. to seek out the American dream, right? So tell me about that story. That big transition. That's no easy leap for anybody to make. So can you tell me about that process?
Yes. Again, my father groomed me to always leave the country. He didn't want me to stay in the country. I was growing up being a little gangster, so called.
Not Ozzy, not the Ozzy
Yeah,
I know.
not the Ozzy you know. Trust me. After there was a little extreme switch. After I stopped being bullied, I became a little too extreme because I realized still everybody's bigger than me. They look scarier than me. I realized that, hey, to compensate this, they should think I'm crazy. So any little thing, anybody looks at me wrong, I was like furious. I started doing crazy things. I don't want to get into the details. And people started thinking, oh, he's crazy. When I graduated my high school 1 year earlier than my classmates because I did extra classes during the summer, considered as a better student. So I wanted the freedom of going to the bigger city. So I wanted the college as fast as I can. So I'm a little bit further away from my town. And yeah, when I went to college, that's it. I was hanging out with a bad crew. I was thinking it's a cool thing to do, and God forbid somebody looks at me wrong. God forbid somebody says something. I was like, all hell on them, all hell on them. And my father started noticing that in me, and he was like, I need to get you out of this country. You're so much more than being a little gangster in this country. You're so much more than this. You have a different intellectual approach, you have a different vision, you have different heart, and you have a talent. He says, I need to get you out of this country. So I had two major directions. One was leaving the country, either England, Germany, tried Canada, never got the visa to Canada. 2 times Canada denied me. And United States. I got a visa for these 3 countries. I had a choice to choose between those 3. 1, 2, also South Korea. I loved South Korea, by the way. And 3 was to go to Moscow to this special school to become a military man, to work for government. And I had to choose between those, taking a overseas athletic career or staying in the country and taking a military path, which I enjoyed so much. My father is a military man as well. And 3 days before I left to Moscow to become a military man, I decided, you know what, let's go. Yeah. Let's go to United States. Because my father sat with me, he saw something was going on with me. I started drawing.
Really?
Yeah, I started drawing, and he looked at my drawings, he said, I know something is off. He says, come sit with me. It was so cool. Like, he has
Were you an artist?
No, I was just, one of the things is, I love solitude. I love to be by myself. Even though all my business is around talking to people, being with people, working with people.
Energetic.
Yeah, energetic and everything. I enjoy this. But my best thing is when the ideas are born, when I rest, when I recover, is being completely alone. So I love time being alone. And during that time, I started drawing things. And he saw some of my drawings, and it was very abstract kind of drawings, but yet from the background of what he had and his psychology, he noticed something was bothering me. I was between the choices, and he sat down. He made it very simple. He said, listen, you stay in a country, you go to military school, I know you're going to do great with your discipline, with your commitment, with your personality. You're going to be great for them. You're going to finish your school, you're going to work for them, and you're going to have pretty much any doors open in the country. That's 90% sure. You leave in the country, you never know what's going to happen.
Right.
He says, that is 10% sure. Which one do you want? I was like, oh, of course I want the challenge. I said.
You don't want the safe path.
No, I don't want the safe path. I said, no. I said, I want something unusual. I said, and Arnold was my big inspiration.
I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah, Arnold was my big inspiration. I said, I gotta go where Arnold is. So yeah, I came to United States. One of the big helps was from these 2 gentlemen who was my father's friends at that time. Was Murat Keshtov. He's the owner of K Dojo Gym, and his partner at that time, Samuel Kardan. These 2 gentlemen, they facilitated my move to United States. They sent me the invitation. They allowed me to get to this country. They literally let me live in their homes. I ate what they ate. I slept in the same house where they slept, and they were driving me to training, from training, teaching me the language, teaching me the mentality in the United States. So they were, my first big step is due to their help.
So K Dojo was the first step when you moved over here in
Yes.
training in mixed martial arts.
Yes.
And when did you branch off to create OzFit, Atreus Training Facility?
Oh, there's so much happened between that
Right.
and then. Certain things happened, certain disagreements happened, and we had to part our ways, and I was left completely just me, myself. You know, there was, I said this story a few times, I believe you remember this too. There was moments where I was just on the street. I didn't know where to go.
Yeah.
And I was literally working out outside in the parks, throwing rocks. I had few resistant bands, working out with the resistant bands, and I remember I had 2 garbage bags full of my clothes that I asked one of my old training partners who used to train with me at K-Dojo, so I can store them by his house so I can go search for work, do things. He said, yeah, sure. I left them there, start doing things, start searching for work, this and that. I was asking restaurants if I can work for food. A lot of restaurants, they would just give me the food. I was like, no, please, I hate to be a taker. I need to do something. I go, okay, take a garbage, like something like that. And I was doing these things, and the guy by whom I was keeping the clothes, he said, listen, he says, you can stay night by me. You don't have to sleep outside. I took a first night by him, and he ended up me living with him for 1 year. He allowed me to stay by him 1 year. He was driving me to training. His mother was cooking food for me. He gave me shelter. And that's another person who facilitated my progress forward. And after that, I started competing at the tournaments. I had no team, no nothing. I was just training. Then I joined Team Macaco's team in Newark. That's how I met Plino. That's how I met Eric Tavares. All the rest of the team, the Brazilians, started training with them. Matter of fact, Oliveira was there as well when I was there.
Just came to the Bronx,
yes, Charles over there. We were all training together. Then we all again branched out. I went to Hanzo's, and when I went to Hanzo's, that's where I found my home. Yes, when I went to Hanzo's, I felt this is it. This is my home now. I started training with them, and after that, that's it. The rest of the story is me becoming professional, me fighting. Along the way, started doing some privates here and there, and people started asking, please open a gym, and this is it. We got it.
So we just got done discussing how, for lack of better words, you were homeless. You were training by yourself. You were doing your own thing for a while. Now, you're a man of structure. Your mental fortitude is just so sound in itself. That has to be a very difficult time for you. Can you take me through that process of, doing everything by yourself without much to do it with?
Yeah, it was such a cool thing to go through. Yes, because one, I was almost a little bit preconditioned to that. Just going back to one of the questions I answered, saying that I enjoyed being alone. Same goes to when I was training back home in Russia. A lot of mornings I would wake up before school around 6 a.m. and just go for a jog and training myself by the river, throw rocks here and there. So it was somewhat of my time to enjoy being a combative artist, you know. I would be so much into animations, watching these Japanese animes, so it would be my source of energy, source of visualization, you know. And I was enjoying that time. So when I came here, I was like, all right, let's go back to the roots, you know. And being alone, training myself like that, it was cool at the beginning until it starts getting tough, until I start losing a few grappling tournaments, and I was like, oh, this is no good. And I remember first time ever I experienced stress, and it was physical pain in my chest. And I remember I was like, oh, well, this is how it feels. I was like, this is what they're talking about. Like, I think this is what stress is. I was like, oh my God. I remember it was a nighttime, it was a summertime, such an awesome evening. I looked up in the sky and said, Ozzy, consume every moment of what you're going through right now. Remember this so well, because this is a proof that you're on the right path. If it would be easy, something would be wrong. This is a proof that you're on the right path. And I remember, I swear, telling myself, remember every moment of this so you can, when you become successful, you will be telling this story to others.
I love it.
I swear on my life, that's what I told myself. And I looked up, it was hurting me, and first thing I say, yo, let's breathe. Let's breathe. And I say, what is stress? I'm such a used to it, having a physical opponent in front of me, and suddenly There is an opponent that I don't know where he comes from. I don't know his size. I don't know what he is, his colors. So I said, I cannot fight him because I don't know what I'm fighting. And I said, let me create a material shape for this stress to deal with. So I envisioned a creature. I envisioned something that looks like me, but looks very scary. Something that resembles my voice, but has a scarier voice, has an evil look. And I said, that's the stress. That's part of me. It's not a foreign thing. It's me. And I have to fight it. Since I know myself, let me beat this guy. You understand? Let me beat this evil guy who puts me down. Let me beat this evil guy who makes my legs very heavy. Let me beat this guy who puts so much heaviness in my head that I don't even want to eat. I don't want to sleep. I say, I have to beat this guy. Yeah. How I'm going to go and fight an opponent in front of me if I still didn't fight this one? That means now I'm fighting two people.
I think this is such a productive lesson that you can be teaching others, and that can be conducive in their lifestyle, because in 2022, stress is through the roof for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, between the depression rate, the anxiety rate, and everybody just going through the tons of stress. I guess my question would be to you is, you were able to identify your own stressors, able to give it a name, give it a physical form, so you can battle in itself. Could you give listeners or viewers anything, any bit of OzFit knowledge that they can maybe take in the future to combat stress? Because it seems like you have it dialed in for yourself, man.
Check this out, Adam. Almost on a daily basis, I share this knowledge and this experience with people, especially at my gym at Atreus Training Center. And I do help a lot of people. At least I want to believe that I help a lot of people. Results speaks for themselves. Actions speak louder. So I have a lot of results happen and a lot of people. But you know, at the beginning, when I found that formula for myself, I started using the same formula for others. Guess what? It didn't work. It didn't work. There is no one set formula that works for everybody. Yeah. I realized that very quick. For some people, it worked very well. For some people, it didn't. So what I started doing is I started doing my own empirical testing to recognize when does my system work and when it doesn't. I started with that. So I separated a group of people. This particular group of people are able to comprehend what I'm talking about and apply it into their scenarios. But this group of people not. What should I do with this group of people? And slowly here and there start mixing things together. I realized that the groups I separated on 4 groups, the people who I work with. Out of the 4 groups, each group I separated on 3. And each 3 I separated on another 3. You understand?
So you got subcategories.
Exactly. And one of the blueprints that helped me is the zodiac signs.
Really?
Yes. I started using zodiac signs as a blueprint to understanding the psychology behind people's stress. And believe it or not, now I have a pretty well done where as I talk to the person, if he opens up a little bit, gives me a little background of themselves, and I start sensing what is their zodiac sign, off of their zodiac sign, what the background they have, what age they're in, what life phase they're in. And the life phase and the age are not always matching. No. You know, I can use myself as an example. In such an early age, the amount of phases that I pass through is right. Usually people have to live the whole lifetime to experience it. And I started using it, and yeah, it's a very interesting blueprint that I used on people, and it works pretty well. One thing that everybody has common, whenever you have stress, one thing is it's real, accept it. It's real, it's out there. You cannot fight that until you accept it. That's number one thing. That works for everybody, regardless what background you come from or not. Whenever stress hits you, while you're ignoring it, it's gonna eat you and grow. It's gonna grow big, it's gonna turn into a humongous monster. So first thing you have to recognize, and it's almost like you're okay, you're stressed. Yeah. You have a depression, and they're like, oh, wait a minute. Because usually people put coating on it. No, it's okay, you're strong, this and that. No, buddy, you're here because you have a problem. Yeah. Let's deal with the problem.
And more than not, people don't want to admit that they have a problem.
Exactly. So this is one of the main things. Second thing that helps so many people, that also, regardless of the subgroups that I have, that also adjust to so many different ones, is I call it the two rivers of life from which you have to feed yourself is the river of optimism and realism.
I like that.
And them two, they go like railroads together. They never cross, they never go apart, but if you're able to let them run, on one side the optimism, on the other side realism, and taking a little bit from each, you'll be okay. You'll be okay. Because the realism will give you a sense of the bottom line, where you are, and the optimism will give you strength and ambition to take it to the next level.
It seems like that can be also applied in your gym setting.
Oh,
Is that something
100%.
that you apply for your
Yes,
students as well?
Yes, exactly. That's what I use everywhere.
Yeah.
I found myself a blueprint that I apply in my business, in my relationship, in my friendship, in my work, and in my personal reminders as well. Everything that I share with you, as I share, I constantly remind it to myself. Only then it works. Only then it works. This way I keep myself on my toes. This way I keep challenging my own knowledge to keep improving. And my goal is, I love to use the analogy of, have you ever seen the skyscrapers being built by these humongous lifters? I forgot how it's called in English. And in Russian it's called crane. The thing that lifts. Crane?
Yeah,
Am I saying it right?
course,
Oh,
yeah.
perfect. A crane. How come when you look at the building that it's built, you say, wow, what an amazing structure is being built. But you never notice that skinny crane that lifts everything.
Right.
You understand? And how come for the building to be built, the crane must be always slightly higher than the building? And let's use that as a student and a coach. I'm the crane. And if you're my student whose eyes are on, everybody's seeing this beautiful building, this beautiful athlete being built. And the crane is the skinny, thin line that keeps putting blocks on it. As the building grows, if the crane doesn't, the building will stop growing. So the crane's job is to constantly be above the building and constantly put the blocks on it, on top, for the building to gain more and more eyes.
Yeah.
And the crane stays in the back.
Well, let's talk about the crane behind Revolt Fighting League. Let's talk about that. RFL, big things going on in New Jersey that you brought to the state of New Jersey. RFL, we're on our second show. We have our third show coming up in December, which will be a grappling event. Now, you're one of those people that you're constantly going to be dissecting your product, because you've said it to me yourself that if you don't see room for improvement, then the product gets stale.
Yeah.
There's going to be no growth after that, and it's just going to get dull. So I want to ask you, what have you seen in RFL 1 and 2 that you can personally take so much pride in, and that you want to just expand so much further for the fight fans out there of New Jersey and the tri-state area?
Awesome. That's a great question. What did I see off of RFL 1 and 2 that I can be proud of, and yet that I need improvements on? One, same way as my fighting career and my personal lifestyle and everything, I'm the first critic of myself. So first thing that I see in anything I do is a victory or a shortcoming. I always see what can be done better. That is number one. I'm going to put that aside. I'm not going to get into the details that what can be done better. But what I enjoyed seeing from RFL 1 and 2 is, number one, most important thing, Adam, is fighters being happy.
Yeah, they were so
That's-
stoked. They were stoked to be there. They were stoked to
Oh
put
my
on
God.
for not only the fans, but they were excited. I noticed so many fighters coming over to you personally after the show and just thanking you, giving you all the praise in the world, because, again, you put so much into them. They wanted to put it back for you.
Isn't that amazing, Adam?
It is.
Isn't that amazing? That is, look, I just got chills on my body. Every time those young kids would come up to me and thank me, and even now, just it's already been a few weeks since the RFL, month, even more. And still, I'm receiving text messages from the fighters thanking me. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And that is that's a bottom line. That's a number one thing. Number two, I was so happy that the fans, coaches, and the New Jersey Athletic Commission was happy with me. That is the number two. Okay, so that is my priority list. One, were the athletes for whom I'm doing this happy and content with what they had? Yes. Excellent. Two, the viewers and the coaches who bring those fighters in, they're equally important, and the New Jersey Athletic Commission. Are they happy with me? Everybody was happy with me. Next is my team, my personal team. How were they? Were they happy working with me? Was I fair with them? Did they enjoy the action? Did they enjoy the adversity? Yes. Everybody who worked with me, they had a great time. We went through so many ups and downs, but every person who had shortcomings and or who had some great things done in an event, for example, if I told you to do 3 units of movement and you were able to execute 5, wow, awesome, happy. Or I told you to do 3 and you did only 2. Also, my responses to their actions, to their performance, they were shocked. They said, Ozzy, you're a true leader. We enjoy this. That made me so happy. I said, oh my God. I said, what else do I need? So these were my major criterias for both events. And both events, that happened. That happened. Certain shifts in my team I had to make from the RFL 1 to RFL 2. Beautiful shift happened. It was excellent. That's the whole point of building. Certain people who worked with me on RFL 2 invested even more into RFL 2 from 1 to 2. So things started moving along. I enjoy that. And last part, people may not believe it. Last part is the financial part. We're doing okay.
Good.
You're doing okay.
That's awesome.
That's it.
Another question I have is, when you started RFL, now the East Coast, especially the tri-state area, there's several different MMA promotions, right? None of which have a former professional MMA fighter as the CEO, promoter, or even owner, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that that sets you apart from other promoters? And I'm not bashing anybody, it's just, do you think that you bring something to the table that they may not have the experience in because you've done it?
Well, it's really not what I've done before. It's, will I be able to bring that experience into action, into fruition? That's what counts. Doesn't matter where I come from before. It's very similar to the coaches where one of the best coaches in the world, they never even competed. So imagine if you say, oh, he's an Olympic champion, world champion, he's been training whole his life, that means he's going to be the great coach. Doesn't work like that all the time. So me having experience of fighting, me having experience of coaching, me having experience of managing people, and suddenly becoming a promoter from a particular point of view may seem like, wow, he has an advantage. He's going to be the best now. It's not always the case. It's not always the case. Being a promoter is a completely different thing.
Yeah.
So I cannot use that as a source of confidence saying, oh, I'll be better than other promoters because they haven't done what I've done. They haven't fought in a cage how I fought. What gives me is a sense of, hey, buddy, you have a lot of weapon in your arsenal. Learn to use them. You were behind the cage. You were in the cage. You were coach. You were a fighter. What did you like? What you didn't like? What you wanted to see? What you didn't want to see? What do you want to experience? Take all that, and if I'm able to put that into perspective and use it into actions, then yes, it separates me from other promoters. Yeah. But if I don't, I'm just another guy. And I don't want to be just another guy.
I know that for a fact. I want to jump back and forth real quick because when you ended your MMA career, your professional MMA career, did you know that your final fight camp would be against Justin Gaethje before the retirement happened?
No. I was on a rise.
Yeah.
You know, my 2 losses that I had in my career was a very every fighter would love to talk about how he shouldn't lose that fight.
Right.
But my very first loss that I had was my second professional fight where I didn't even train with the training partners. I had no training partners. I was fighting Mike Wade, and as I was 172 pounds in a cage and didn't cut weight to fight in a welterweight while my opponent was over 190 pounds.
Chris Wade, and you got that fight back and won.
Yeah.
You won in the rematch.
No. First one was a Mike Wade.
Mike Wade.
Yes.
Okay.
Chris Wade was a one-time fight.
Okay. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. A lot of people get confused actually.
Yeah.
And when I fought him at the welterweight division, I literally was fighting him and said, oh wow, it feels good to spar. Long time I didn't spar. This was what was going on in my head. And I was winning the round until I made the rookiest error and he got me in a guillotine, and this was the lesson for my life. I tapped because I didn't know what to do. I was like, oh my God, what is happening?
Right.
Why is he holding my head? Oh my God, I forgot this position. What is happening here? Shit. And I tapped. And when my head came out, I was like, oh my God, I knew what to do. Right. What the hell happened? I was killing this guy. Yeah. You understand what I'm talking about? That was a huge lesson for me. The pain that I carried in the moment when my head came out and I just realized I gave up. I thought I was gonna die. I wanted to melt into the canvas and disappear.
Yeah.
That's how bad. After that, I said, never again in my life I'll give up. I will go in a cage. I will go in a cage. The phrase that I'm gonna say, somebody say that out loud, and I was so jealous that he's the one who said it out loud, was Adesanya when he was fighting. I'm very bad with the names. I forget my students' names. This is one of the weak shortcomings that I have. I'm horrible with the names. He was fighting this guy, a shorter, stocky guy, the one who gave him big lip during the fight. It was a bad exchange.
And I remember what you're talking about. It's slipping my brain as well.
But anyway, between the round, he said, I'm ready to die.
Yeah.
I'm ready to give my life for this. And when he said that, I was like, oh my God, I'm so jealous. Because I've been saying this since my very first loss. Every fight I would come in with a pure confidence, Adam. This is no joke. This is not just me hyping myself up at that time. I was truly believing in this, saying, I'm ready to give my life to get my hand raised.
Wow.
Nothing will stop me. I am unstoppable. I had this absolute confidence and full investment of my well-being in order to get my hand raised. To the point, this is a little bit personal, to the point where before I would leave my house, because I used to live with my 2 younger siblings with me, I brought them to this country as they were 10 and 12 years old, and I was taking care of them while I was doing everything else, while our parents were in Russia. Before I leave the house to the fights after that, I was telling them, hey, if I don't come back, this is what you're supposed to do. This is how you're going to do. This is the contact that you're going to reach out to. This is where your passports are, this and that. I swear to my life.
You would give them the information just if worst case scenario
Because
happened.
I knew if I have to, I would give my life.
Truly believed it.
Yeah, I truly believed it, 100%.
Wow.
100%. This is absolute truth.
Wow.
Axioma. Am I saying it right? It was absolute axioma.
Yeah.
Absolute truth, if I'm not mistaken. This is a little bit from my math classes. And I was coming out like that to fight. And my second loss was a fight where I wasn't supposed to fight. I was so sick for 3 weeks. I had lung infections and a bad thyroid infection. Not thyroid, tonsils infection. I was under antibiotics for 9 days, 9 straight days. I did the weight cut. And I did the walk. I couldn't even do the warm-up. I remember James Meals was in my corner back then, and Jamal Patterson. And they were like, yo, Ozzy, what's wrong with you? Like, you're a fire usually. Why not warming up? I'm like, oh, no, I did warm up over there. I'm good. I went in the fight saying that I just have enough energy to do 1 round. Let me see what happens. And I went out there. I I couldn't even make fists. I couldn't fight. This guy is on me, I'm holding him. He's like, he took me down. I remember I was like, I'm not getting taken down by black belts and wrestlers. This guy just took me down at ease. I'm like, this is a disaster. And I stopped fighting myself out and stuff like that. And I remember he caught me in a very deep Darce strangle. And I was in it. And in my mind, it's a seconds during a fight. But in my mind, it's a long conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, buddy, like, it's okay, you're sick. You're supposed to lose this fight, just don't tap, just go to sleep. And suddenly the badass voice came out of me. The real Ozzy came out. He said, are you fucking kidding me? You've been praying so much to be the best. You've been investing so much to be the best. You have 2 kids dependent on you over there, and you have credit card bills to pay. What do you mean I'll go to sleep? Fucking fight until you die. Didn't you make an investment to die?
Yeah.
And I said, yes, I did. I'm gonna die. I freaking start pulling, and literally, I didn't do no technique. I just stopped fighting the grip. And I remember him out loud saying, oh, fuck. When I heard that, I said, oh, that's it. I'm gonna beat this guy. Yeah, I opened the grip. I got up. You can watch it. It's on YouTube. You can watch it. I got up. I start fighting back. Every round, coaches were telling me I was winning. I thought I won the fight, but unfortunately, it went to decision. But since then, that's another thing, the second loss, that gave me even more confidence. I said, oh my God, if I was able to fight this guy, being completely sick, I'm freaking unstoppable. Nobody can beat me anymore. I just have to be healthy.
Yeah.
And that's it. After that, the fight rise began. I start rising up in ranks, start fighting, and I had no intentions on stopping. Unfortunately, God had different plans than me. And my health kicked in. The morning of the fight, my whole right side was paralyzed. I had to cut it. They took me to the hospital. The doctors will go, what the hell is going on with this guy's heart? They gave me morphine. They put me to sleep. They calmed me down and they say, hey, buddy, you got to check yourself out. Something is wrong.
Yeah.
And before the fight, I was going to the doctors. I was like, listen, I have chest pain. I think my heart hurts. Nobody was finding something. It was completely fine. I remember talking to my manager at that time, Ali Abdulaziz. I'm like, Ali, my heart hurts. He's like, Ozzy, maybe you're just overtrained. You know, like all the doctors say. He couldn't trust me because all the doctors are saying I'm fine.
Yeah.
And me too, I was like shy to say it. Now I say, fuck it. If nobody believes, I'll just go fight. Maybe it is something just in my mind.
Right.
But nah, man, it was bad. And only when I flew back to Russia and I did special checks with the high-level doctors, they find out I had very bad infection since my childhood and my tonsils that stayed with me for so many years. And they said, until we do surgery on that, we cannot fix your heart. They did the surgery, they fixed me up, but then I started investing so much into coaching, started building my plans into promoting and stuff, because RFL, it's not yesterday born. RFL was born many years ago in my head, you understand? So I said, you know what, I'm enjoying the intellectual side of this fight, I'm enjoying being a fighter, and I enjoy jiu-jitsu. So let me just focus on jiu-jitsu tournaments, coaching, and building my promotion, my MMA promotion and Revolt Fighting League.
So we just got done talking about you capping off your illustrious pro career. Obviously, it didn't go the way you wanted to. God had other plans, but I mean, obviously, you're doing just fine. You got Atreus Training Center, you got RFL in the works. You got so many good things that you have brewing. Now, my question is, and it might be a tough one, is how bittersweet was it to have that abrupt stoppage without being planned?
Man,
because you are doing so well.
yes. It's sometimes like when I roll with some pro fighters, with my students, and I see the abilities that I have right now, my ego kicks in. I'm like, oh, why the hell I'm not going out there and showing the world what I can do, you know? But then I remember all the weight cutting, all the investment that I did, leaving everything and strictly becoming a caveman and concentrating on that, and putting that on a scale with what I have growing nonstop right now with a diversity of directions, my coaching career, my gym career, and my Revolt Fighting League career. And I'm like, it's better to stick with my new adventures, because those adventures, they were always in the back of my mind. While I was fighting, I was always dreaming to get to this point. Yeah. And just it happened, I got to this point without achieving my first path that I was groomed to my whole life. But I realized, hey, the amount of knowledge, experience, and the character that I got from that path is perfect fit for this. And how many young promoters you see out there? I'm 33 years old right now. How many promoters at the age of 33 are rocking it the way how I do? And everything on their own. Everything on their own. So I'm like seeing myself, I'm like, oh, wow, I'm moving pretty well in this one. Yeah. I was doing very good in my personal career. And now in my other personal career as a promoter and a coach, I think I'm doing excellent. Why to stop?
I agree.
You know, there's a reason why I didn't get direct hit in my face in my 10 pro professional fights. There's a reason why. You understand? Yeah. Not even once I got direct hit in my face during my pro fights, and I said, God was saving me. You never know. Maybe if I would do that one more fight, I would get a very bad damage. You understand what I'm talking about? Like, I see things from a particular perspectives that gives me ambition and energy to go with the path that I go. So I said, you know what? There was a reason why I never got hurt in the fights. There is a reason why I had to stop. There is a reason why I feel I'm advanced in what I'm doing right now. And the beauty of it is, by feeling that I'm advanced, encourages me to become even better, to study even more. Every day I study, I dedicate time to become a better coach, to become a better businessman, to become a better leader, to become a better promoter, and obviously to always take care of myself as an athlete, even though I'm not competing anymore. Yeah. You understand? So this sense of daily improvement, even 1 inch, 1 unit per day, if I got better at something, if every day I was able to challenge some of my knowledge from yesterday and facilitate that, okay, I'm still good with that knowledge, or, oh my God, I was wrong back then, it's supposed to be like this, then I'm good.
Yeah.
then I'm good.
Now, like you said, 33 years old, physical specimen. Obviously, you're doing well for yourself.
Thank you.
Have you completely closed the book on fighting?
Oh, 100%.
100%?
Yeah, 100%. I'll never get back in a cage again.
Never?
No, never. That's 100%. But I cannot wait for RFL to become a little bit more natural, smoother rolling. So I have time to train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and my goal, I'm telling this to everybody, my goal is to win the IBJJF Worlds. Oh, that's I want to be on that pedestal.
That's awesome.
I love Jiu-Jitsu. I fell in love with the gi training. Oh my God, it's all what I want to do now.
Yeah. Now I want to start wrapping things up. When you take a look at just the overview, the bird's eye looking down the life of Ozzy Dugulubgov from here, Atreus Training Center, the World Series of Fighting, all the accolades, and it all came born and raised in the Caucasus Mountains. Tell me about that. How does that feel, man? that story from there to the American dream to making it to doing exactly what you're doing with RFL, bringing a new standard of MMA to New Jersey. Tell me, man, what does that feel like to you?
Sometimes I joke about it, like, and inside of my family, where like I'm like, hey, a little kid from the village, from a town called Baksan. I said, traveling all the way across the world and doing something, you know. It's funny. It's a cool feeling. Few different things while I was there. One, I was constantly, this is insane. Even by strangers, people would look at me and they would be like, oh my God, he's gonna be very different. Mm-hmm. I always got that. And then it was great motivation for me. And another motivation was complete opposite of that, where I was in a 6th grade and the teacher, we just came back from a summer break, September, and the teacher was asking everybody what they want to be, who they want to be when they grow up. The common question, you know. And everybody was answering things, and it reached to me, and I said, when I graduate high school, I'm going to travel to United States, and I'm going to be an actor, and I'm going to be a world champion in UFC. And the teacher laughed. She said, you're crazy. United States is too far for you. You'll never get there. That was one of the best motivations I ever got.
Look who's laughing now.
Yeah. I remember when I was here, I wanted to send her a postal card so bad, but then I was like, it's okay. When I get there, I'll see her in person. Mm-hmm. So first time I went back there, I was literally driving around the town in my dad's car, and just by accident, I saw her walking from a store with the bags.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I pulled up by her. But where we grow up, being a stranger is not the same as being a stranger over here. Mm-hmm. Over there, even strangers are your tribe. Mm-hmm. You understand? We're, at least when I used to live over there, everybody used to hold on to each other like this. So I stopped like this. I came to her. We call her auntie. Yeah, any stranger for you is auntie over there. I say, auntie, can I help you with the bags? I say, I see you walking by. She says, oh, thank you, my son. Like, she didn't recognize me. Took the bags, put it in the car. I drove her to the house. You know, we were talking. She was like, oh, your parents did very good with you. What's your name? This and that. And I was like, oh, my name is this. She's like, Dugulugbov? I said, yes. She's like, oh my God, I'm so happy for you. She was crying, hugging me. She said, you really did make it to United States. I said, yes, I did. She said, I'm so proud of you. I said, very good, very good. You were such a bad boy, I thought you will never make it. And she said, I said, yes, I did. So I helped her with the grocery and stuff. And that was the way how I saw her after that. It was such a cool
That's
cool
amazing
yes,
how life just comes together that way and just kind of comes full circle.
Exactly.
Again, like I said, I want to close it down, but for fight fans, for any grapplers that are interested, how can they get involved with RFL, with the upcoming event, the grappling event we have going down in December? Just let the fans know that are tuning in. How can they be involved with RFL?
Adam, I noticed that these days, most of the people are on social media. Mm-hmm. That's where all the magic is happening. Mm-hmm. I do zero marketing for my gym. I have between 300 to 400 members, depends on the season of the year. And all of it is either through the word of mouth or through social media. So we have a strong team on our social media page for Revolt Fighting League. Anybody who wants to get some information, go straight to the social media page. All the answers will be answered there. All the information will be given there. Grappling event is going to be December 17th. It's going to be a very special one. We're going to have a very unique rule sets and that event too.
Can we talk about the rule set?
Yes. Okay.
Let's talk about it. Let's break it down for him,
yes,
right?
Yes. A little bit about the rule set.
Yeah.
Okay. So the goal that I'm doing with all these grappling events is to get the people, to young athletes, to participate in a match where the lights are on you, there's a crowd, you're walking out with your music, there's a little preparation in the back room, you have your red corner, you have your blue corner, and yet you don't hit each other. First level, that's my grappling event. And due to that, the rules of the grappling I changed a little bit, where the space where they will be fighting is not the square mats, it's going to be an octagon shaped area. That's one. Two, it's going to be ADCC rules format with a little modification, such as one, there's no guard pulling. If you do decide to pull guard, you'll be giving away a point. The reason why is I want the guys to face each other and to sumo wrestle each other a little bit, to do wrestling, freestyle wrestling with each other a little bit. Use your throws a little bit, because in an MMA fight, you don't pull guard. So I want the guys to feel like, hey, if I want the fight to get to the ground, I got to get the guy down to the ground. So that already gives a little more assertiveness in the MMA mindset, pulling it away from regular jiu-jitsu mindset, where the emphasis is on tapping the opponent no matter how.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
Second rule will be a little bit taken from sumo and a regular freestyle wrestling is boundaries. I'm going to have a shape, an octagon shape within the octagon, a boundary, a perimeter where if the athletes pass that standing, they just moving back, they're backing out so much and they pass it, they also giving up a point. So this forces them to face each other in the middle, you know?
Love it.
There are a few little other rules too, but these are the two rules that will really change the dynamics of the match. It will make the match more fun to watch, especially for the people who don't know who are not enthusiasts of jiu-jitsu. You understand? Because the one who doesn't know jiu-jitsu, if he sees the guard pull, for him it's like, what the hell is going on? He doesn't realize that it's a tactical advantage to pull guard. They don't recognize that. They want action. And when they see two guys pushing each other chest to chest, trying to throw each other, that becomes more fun. So that's a little bit of the rules that we're gonna have. And another format that I'm gonna have at this tournament, from just aside from one-on-one super matches, is a team versus team.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. That's what I was getting at.
Yes, this is very exciting part. Team of 4 people, a coach and 3 athletes, 3 participants. Each participant is going to have a sense of absolute weight division, meaning no weight class, with the boundaries. For example, 3 weight classes. First weight class, please, I may make little mistakes with a pound or 2, but these are approximate numbers. 145 pounds below, one athlete must be. Second athlete must be between 146 to 193, any range between that. And the third athlete must be 194 to 245, anything between that. So this gives you boundaries of the weight classes, and yet it makes you feel like it's an absolute division. It's fun.
Right.
It's fun to watch. And 2, if you think about it, Adam, in a gym, those are the guys that go with each other.
Yep.
In reality, you're always going with those guys.
Right.
It's nothing special to you.
Yeah.
You're always rolling in the gym with those guys. So yes, it has a prestige of sense of an absolute division, no weight class, and yet it has a safety of the boundaries of the weight class that will allow you to compete safely, where 120 pounder is not going to be facing 245 pounder. Yeah, you understand? Those are the 3 athletes and a coach. Each athlete, the winning team, will receive $300. A coach of the winning team will receive $300. Never anybody paid the coach. Come on.
Everybody's getting paid.
Yes, everybody's getting paid. On top of, they will be receiving commission from the ticket sales.
Awesome.
So, can't go wrong with that.
No.
And the beauty of this, you don't have to be a professional black belt or brown belt. These are purple belt below level.
Yeah.
So the guys, the beginners, can experience a sense of professionalism and getting out there, and it's just so freaking cool.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for you guys to see this on
gonna be
December
so
17th.
fun.
I already have 2 teams. I have a spot for another 2. Whenever we fill out with another 2 teams, after that is just the super matches, and let's go. Let's make magic happen.
Now, are we going to wait to discuss all 4 teams at once, or can we disclose the 2 teams that we already have yet, or are we going to talk about this at another time?
Let's save this for another time. There's few
Awesome.
things that I need to facilitate before we make an announcement of the two teams.
Sure.
But both of the teams are in New Jersey.
Love it.
Both of the teams are in New Jersey. One is a little more South Jersey. The other one is a little more North Jersey. So it's gonna be fun.
Between grappling and MMA, setting the standard in New Jersey is my man Ozzy Dugulubgov. Ozzy, thank you so much for hosting me at your beautiful facility at Atreus Training Center. I mean, it is absolutely everything that you can want in a training facility. Anything that you need, you have it right here. And I appreciate you taking me in today.
Thank you so much, Adam. It was such a pleasure having you, man.
My pleasure, man.
Thank you.